How exciting, here it is, your engaging educational hands-on science pack. This pack is filled with hours and hours, even days of fun science activities for your kids. The science pack is filled with activities that students can do independently, in small groups, or even as a whole class. Let's start with the whole class activities. A great whole class activity to do are the sun prints. Check out the resource with the QR code to find out more detail on how to actually run that activity. As a teacher, I would make the most of this activity by going outside together as a whole class. Ask your students to work in pairs and find as many interesting items as they can, getting them to think about the texture, the size, and the shape. Once they've found their items, bring them all back together and discuss what they've found. They can then make predictions about what might happen using their items on their paper. A couple of tips when doing the sunprint activity. Number one, sunprint paper goes through a chemical change when exposed to sunlight, so be sure not to hand out the paper too early. Also, on a windy day, you want to make sure that you have something holding down your paper. Use a clear sheeting like acrylic. This will help not only to not have the paper blow away, but also to allow the sunlight to go through. One of my favourite activities is the Magic Starfish. It's a really great one to do as a whole class. Check out the resource with the QR code to find out exactly how to do it. But here are a couple of tips. Number one, make sure that you run the activity step by step. Don't let kids jump ahead to the next step. That's when you'll have some chaos. You hold on to the water at all times so that it prevents water being spilt, because if there's a wet table, the activity just won't work. Also, you'll find some kids are really good at bending the toothpicks and having them perfect. Others will snap them directly in half. That's why it's important to give them only 5 to begin with, and you keep the rest next to you. The balloon car, the pressure car, and the rubber band car are all fantastic whole class activities to do. Check out the resources and the QR code to find out exactly how to run these activities. They're really great activities to also do at home and get the parents and guardians involved. You can make it a whole session around the science, but also recycling. This can go over multiple days, not just the one session. There are some activities in your science pack that we recommend to be teacher-led only for safety and hygiene reasons. They are the fire balloon, for obvious reasons, the balloon rocket, for hygiene reasons, water beads. You can do it with the whole class, but make sure they are well aware of all the safety involved and that you've read it through with them. There are multiple activities within your science pack that can be done independently, in small groups, or as a rotational activity. Why not set up your classroom as a science lab or science museum? Students can then either go around on a timer or work around independently at their own pace. These activities include your Play-Doh circuits, hydrophobic sand, doesn't get wet, expanding snow. Don't forget to follow all the warning steps before using with your kids. Cartesian diver. Ooh, goopy string slime. Completely safe and non-toxic. Tornado tube. Rockets. Depending on which one you get, and depending on the age and ability of your students, read the safety instructions first. Don't forget to check out your bonus pack. It can be used as a great homework task where students can collect items from home and bring them back into the class to do the activities together. Check out the resource before setting up your class or the activity. You want to make sure that it suits your age and ability of your students, because at the end of the day, you know your students better than we do.